watched out, have not, they're dead. Just time. And a minute, you do not find.
You do not know bills. What about?
And a minute, have
And what about bills? Things are now in motion.
we do not.
You do not know pain. You do not know bills.
I'm gonna.
Just Tetris.
As time. And a minute, you do not find.
Just he threw down my enemy. And what about bills? Things are now in motion.
We do not.
You do not know pain. You do not know bills.
I'm gonna.
Just
Time. And a minute, you do not find.
you do not know bills. What about?
And a minute, lose 500. We do not stop. When you mean
Just Tetris.
as time. And a minute, you do not find.
Just he threw down my enemy.
Lose 500. We do not stop.
What about bills?
You do not find. Good man, right? They watched out. Have not. They're dead.
What about bills?
You do not find. Good man, right? They watched out. Have not. Lose 500. We do not stop. When you mean lose 500. We do not stop. When you mean
What about bills?
you do not find. Good man, right? They watched out. Have not. They're dead.
What about bills?
You do not find. Good man, right? They watched out. Have not. They're dead.
Just
Time. And a minute, you do not find.
you do not know bills. What about?
And a minute, have
And what about bills? Things are now in motion.
we do not.
You do not know pain. You do not know bills.
I'm gonna.
Just Tetris.
As time. And a minute, you do not find.
Just he threw down my enemy.
Have
And what about bills? Things are now in motion.
we do not.
You do not know pain. You do not know bills.
I'm gonna.
And the ring of one.
Testing. 1, 2. There we go. Oh, I tell you, if it's not one thing, it's another. Let's get things set up for the day. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Mine was rather uneventful. Got a lot of stuff done on our nerdy server for playing our role-playing game with my group. We're all scattered across the country, so it's really nice to be able to do this stuff online. And I think the whole quarantine thing actually kind of inspired it all. So we could have been doing this the whole damn time, but still. Even things like streaming, that's something that, yeah, it was always a possibility. I just never really decided to take the time to look into it. I realize you guys can't see me right now. I'm back in the office trying to find something. But of course, I think what I'm looking for, all of them are up at the house. I knew I only had like one of them down here anyway, so. Oh well, we'll move on. Got a lot of work to do today. It's not a huge amount. It's not overwhelming, but it's definitely stuff that, if we don't do it, this knife is not done. So and if it's not done, that means I can't use it. Let's see if I find the solution for what I'm looking for in here. I mean, they call it a toolbox, but really, it just holds a lot of junk. There we go. Let's see if we can make this a little bit more visible for you. I don't know how that camera's going to do. So that is our French style chef's knife that we've been working on. And I started my handles yesterday. I think I spared you guys the grief of actually doing all my epoxy work, and I'm still going to have to cut some things out, but everything looks good. I decided to go with a nice light stabilized wood on this. And I went with a hot red. See, can you? That's my liner material right there. So yeah, a lot of this is going to be just shaping out some of the handles, and while the epoxy and everything's setting up on those, I'm going to work on what I think I'm going to do for the rest of this week's project. Now I'm just comparing the grain. I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can see that all too well on that small camera. But I'm just looking to make sure that things are going to line up. I.e., I'm making sure that I cut them correctly. That's what I'm doing. And see which patterns I want from this burl, like where it would look better in the knife. And I've got a really big knot back here. I think that's going to look. I think that's actually going to look really good towards the tail of the knife. So, this is that portion that's sometimes overlooked by some guys starting out. But really, without this, the knife is really nothing. So it requires a little bit of patience. I'm not a great woodworker. It's something that I've learned to enjoy over time. But it was not something that came naturally. The problem with wood is that when you screw something up, you can't weld another piece on. So I'm just mocking out how I want that handle. What I think it's going to look like. Hey Jeff, how you doing, brother? Just hanging out and doing handlework today. I should really rotate this monitor. Right now it's facing the front of the shop, and I'm sitting at the back of the shop. So it's kind of a nice chilly day out there. I mean, granted, if this was January, we'd think it was a heat wave, but so I think that looks good. I'm just gonna, you can never, it's never gonna hurt you to double check. I'm just looking at my pin alignments. I don't want my pins too close to the edge of the wood. I don't, I want to make sure that I have enough of a margin on here. With the filler material that I'm using, I actually want this material a little bit bigger than the knife overall to start off with. I think that's going to work. So there, we'll put that back here. Is there a part where you can actually see the pattern better on that? Ask the guy 15 feet away from the monitor, so you can't really see anything. I can see the pattern in there. That looks good. I mean, it's not high def, but although technically that camera is 1080p. I just have things knocked down a little bit for better streaming. So I'm gonna step over here to the scroll saw, and I'll be right back. And of course, once again, gotta reset this thing. Alright, that looks pretty good. Now this would stabilize, but it does have some cracks in it. So I'm not worried about it breaking. But I'd like to fill in some of those voids. And it's not cracked so much as, the knots are a little porous here and there. Like I said, this is, it's not necessarily the most fun part of knife making, but it's really the most rewarding. It's when you start seeing everything come together. No, Nate, I have I restarted the computer and did not start Discord on this machine. Besides, I was actually going to take my headphones out today because I realized that I have a certain I have a certain way of talking, a certain rhythm that I keep when I'm listening to myself, and quite frankly, it kind of annoys me. And I took some advice and I moved the camera right here, up close in front, of the action there. So the speaker is actually not even attached to the TV right now. So what are you working on, Nate? Here, I'll go start the Discord app just for you. Can you hear me, Nate? Cool. Okay, well, here's the problem. Um, I can hear you, but I don't think anybody else can. Yes, essentially, you are being the voice inside my head. You know, Nate, I sit here and I talk to myself anyway, so hold on, I just have to change a audio setting, I believe. Yeah, because the output device is as. Oh, this is gonna get weird because now I'm gonna. I think hear you through. Uh, yeah, I'm only gonna hear you through Twitch because I don't have my monitor up.
Well, whatever.
Say something, Nate.
I am saying something. Can you hear me? Check, check. 1, 2. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you,
Okay, good.
but you're not relaying through. I don't know. This is just weird. You know, it's like we do it one day and it works totally fine. We try to do it another day and then it just poops out, right? Well, either way, Nate.
I'm currently.
Okay, now I can't hear you at all.
Yeah. Well,
Unless,
I
of
was
course, you're not
muted.
talking.
I was muted. Because I was talking to Nicholas.
Ah.
So yeah, Jason. I'm talking
Nikki's
to
home.
Jay.
That's awesome.
Yes. See, there's Jay. Jay can hear me.
I'm here at the shop, Nikki.
See, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I heard that.
see, Jeff can hear me as well. So now, yes, everybody can actually hear me in the feed.
What? Oh, Jeff can hear you?
That's what he
okay.
says.
It's okay. It's just not coming through for me, so that's fine.
Cool.
Whatever.
Which. Okay.
I'm just trimming this up on the scroll saw now. Figure that's kind of boring. Nobody really wants to see somebody scroll sawing. Of course, here I am, sitting at a table, gluing up handles, because that is riveting streaming right there. I guess it's kind of like Call of Duty without the guns, the excitement. Ten-year-old kids kicking grown men's asses at video games.
So what handle material
Not
did
that
you
I think
decide
that
to go
ever
with?
happens to you, Nate.
Oh, I guarantee it happens.
This is just a piece that I had stabilized. Remember when we did all those different like blocks for stabilizing in the vacuum chamber?
Yeah.
Probably back in like December.
Uh huh.
Yeah, I just grabbed a light colored one that I had added some. I think I had tried to add some other color to it, but the only thing that really came through was yellow.
I gotcha.
I think I tried to
I
add
still,
some green or some blue, but for some odd reason it didn't take.
I think I still have a bunch of the Hawaiian woods to stabilize somewhere in my bin or in the toolbox over there somewhere.
Okay. Yeah, I've got a. I just came across a big piece of spalted tamarind that I really want to. This piece here really has some. I mean, it's hard to see on camera for anyone at home, but I guess you can kind of see some of the spalting in there. But I think it's going to take dye really nice. I just need to cut it up, and
Mm-hmm.
then I need to figure out a game plan. Do I want to do it all the same? Do I want to, do them different?
Well, do you cut it into scales or do a one piece handle?
Well, I think I'd like to. I think what I'd like to do is do a Patreon video on stabilizing and dyeing,
Yeah. I mean,
and then I'll go into the details of like why I don't like doing individual scales versus why I like doing blocks, but what some of the benefits of doing scales are,
well, yeah. I mean, it's nothing as bad as
But I think we'll
trying to
put that
turn
up
a
for
horn into a handle.
Patreon people. Oh God, yeah, that stuff's a nightmare.
And it smells to high heaven.
Isn't there still a green one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we still have
isn't
a
there still like a
green one.
green dyed one over here?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
thought
there
so.
should still be a green piece. I mean, we used the black one, so yeah, there should be a green one that I wanted to use for like a Celtic style.
Right. Was there a blue one as well?
No, I only had the black and the green.
Oh, okay. That's soaking in there nicely. Although I see a couple of spots that we can go a little deeper with. Might as well take care of this now before I, rough out the handle. Fill in these voids so there's no weak spots at all. Even though, I mean, the stabilizing resin should take care of most of that.
So yeah, we have a bit of an issue going on with the house right now.
Oh, what's going on?
Both the ACs went out last night. So
Oh God, dude, you are plagued with air conditioning problems
yeah, well, they haven't. It hasn't been quite right
or
since
heating
that.
problems or HVAC problems.
Yeah, well, it hasn't been quite right since that last hurricane storm came through and knocked the power out in front of our house. Well, it knocked the one leg of power out to our house.
Huh.
Even since it's been back on, every time the AC would kick on, all the lights would dim. Like you could see there was a surge every time the AC would kick on. So
Well,
I went outside today
that's
and
extra
looked.
load on the motors.
Yeah. Well, I went outside and looked at the power lines, and our power lines to the house are hanging down pretty low. So the electric company is supposed to be coming out today to look at the lines to the house, and then the AC guys are supposed to be coming between 4 and 8 to take an actual look at the units themselves too. So
Yeah, I mean it could be a capacitor, is wearing out, or even slightly disconnected. I mean, I don't know how much force it got, if something fell on it, or
Yeah. So
and I mean, I'm pretty sure they have a start and a run capacitor on those. I could be wrong. I mean, they all this newfangled stuff, you know. So how's that Dragon Mask coming out, Nate?
still sitting the way it was. Still waiting. I have to, till the die and hardware get in. I mean, the die's coming from Angelus, which is in California. Hardware, that's Amazon, so that'll be here like tomorrow. But I gotta wait for the dies to paint it up before I can actually assemble.
Right. I was doing some nerdy stuff with our brother in California. Oh, son of a bitch. Well, Nate, I'm not even going to talk about that.
Whatever happened there, buddy?
You know, if you're going to screw up live on air, right?
Did you glue do the wrong side to the wood?
Well, let's see if I can. I was talking and forgot to flip one side. So now there's two different ways I can handle this. And I know what the one way is going to be, or what method I'm going to choose. I just have to figure out which one I'm doing it with. And it's going to be this one. Just means a lot more sanding on this other side here. And hopefully I have some more red liner. What a day. Could be worse, right?
I mean, at least it's just handle material.
Yeah, it is. But what I'm going to do, just so I can actually move on while this is happening. I don't want to take all day waiting for the epoxy to set up. So do I have a better belt than that? Nothing I want to use. All right. Yeah, it just means I'm going to have to grind the liner material off there.
Whoops.
I mean, I guess I could have just cut a whole new slab, but whatever. At least I'm not wasting wood this way.
Yeah.
There you go. At least now they're indexed. So just need a piece of steel. Where am I going to find a flat piece of steel in this shop?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think there is any.
Oh. Hashtag bladesmith problems. So that's my resin. I'm going to mix this a little heavy.
So I noticed some interesting things today. There was a new thing posted by Men at Arms making another video game thing, and they're making this
Okay.
massive hammer for a Wasteland video game, and it was all posted by Baltimore Knife and Sword. But my friend Derek Kemper was brought in on the project, which was interesting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, so it's just Matt doing that stuff now, isn't it?
No, it was Carrie doing it. Carrie was the one in charge of the whole video.
Okay.
Yeah. Didn't mention Ilya at all, though.
Yeah, for some odd reason, like
I'm wondering if Matt and Ilya.
no,
didn't break
Ilya's
off.
working for Mount Phillips Metalwork.
Okay. But I know, like, what is their other ones? How It Works or something like that.
Chris up there.
But
yeah, it's not How It Works. It's something like that, though. I think.
Right. But I know him and Matt have been doing that show kind of. It's weird. I don't know if there was a separation with Baltimore. I don't know.
I don't know. I haven't talked to Carrie in years, so.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him since the ship, so.
The last time I talked to him was we were just talking power hammers one day. And also, I mean, talking a little business, shop talk as well, but mainly it was about power hammers. We weren't bitching or complaining about it.
Right.
Oh, looks like my video froze. Nate, you're supposed to be telling me when my video freezes.
Oh, it just froze on my end.
Back. Never mind.
No. Oh, yep. All right. Yeah, it's.
Yeah, and I didn't even have to reset it. That was just I have no idea what it was. It was a momentary lapse of reason. That's what we'll call it.
That could have been a total internet hiccup because all the cameras kind of froze, not just the one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So I think later on this week I'm going to do a Deba, which
Do a what?
I already have a Deba that I did, but I'm not all that happy with it. You know, that knife right there. The reason why I'm not happy with it is because traditionally a Deba is, you know, a much thicker blade, and that's about 1/8 of an inch thick. I think that would be great for, you know, somebody just to use in their kitchen. But I want something to actually take the heads off of fish. I want to use it the right way.
Bye, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff. Yeah, not much action going on today. I mean, this is just a. I mean, you want to know what it's like in an actual knife maker's shop?
Your
This is a lot of
audio
it right
was
here.
breaking
You know,
up.
this is the fun stuff, the real excitement. Really, because I can hear it in my ear and it sounds just fine. And I'm listening through Twitch. I don't have a monitor on my end.
Well, I have. I mean, I have. I'm just saying, like when it comes through on my headset, I'm pumped through Discord, so it just broke up through there. So I don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Occasionally, if I bump this mic wrong, I think it kind of just wiggles the plug.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm wearing a belt pack for it.
Gotcha.
It's a really cheap wireless lavalier set. But when I start doing when we start doing a lot more classes, you know, when we pick back up on that,
Yeah.
I think I want to get 4 more of them for here at the shop.
Yeah, you'll have to send me a a link to
Because
a
that'd be
couple of
kind of
these
cool to
cameras.
be able to broadcast the classes, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to.
To what?
I said you'll have to send me a link to the cameras so I can pick a couple up.
Send you a link to what?
The cameras, so that way I can pick a couple up to do the leather stuff.
Oh, these cameras. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're too bad.
no,
For
they
what
seem
I'm
to be
doing,
working.
I mean, the
Yeah,
resolution's fine. Especially for doing it live.
right.
I think if you were recording this, you know, this would not be an acceptable resolution. But the fact that we're just, you know, we're trying to push this out live on the internet. Let's move that camera just a hair. See, now you can actually see what I'm doing. Yeah, these cameras were $25 a piece. I mean, I added them. I added them just to have, you know, motion lights or motion cameras here in the shop.
Right.
But what's cool is since this whole quarantine thing, they created a new firmware for the cameras that allows you to do webcam stuff. But then there's also, I guess some guys were bored and they put out a patch that allowed something called RTSP, which essentially, now you can't do the webcam stuff with it, although I guess you technically could, or RTMP. Essentially, it makes each camera have its own little sort of like web server on it. And so that's how I'm streaming it into OBS, is by just pulling up the IP address.
Oh, okay.
So that's why some of the cameras, when I move, depending on the action that's going on, sometimes one camera is just a few seconds behind or whatever.
Hmm. Makes sense.
Oh no, Bob Dodge! If you see this, I just got epoxy all over me, all over my Bob Dodge tattoo shirt. One of our best students. If you're down the Downingtown area, Coatesville area, looking for a tattoo, call up Bob.
I'll be back.
There we need to get Bob to start live streaming from his shop. Before I set that down to actually set up, just want to make sure I don't have any epoxy on the blade. Oh, we're good. This is a good reason why you don't sharpen your knives before you put the handles on. Just saying. Do an awful lot of picking that knife up by the handle, or by the blade. I mean, not by the handle, because you're doing handle work. By the time I get this drilled, that should be ready to go. So good timing on that. So I'm just gonna move this out of the way. This is that liner material. And while all that's going on, I want to I want to start planning out this Deba. Deba.
All right.
Doing.
Sorry, these electric guys just showed up.
I like the overall shape of this. Oh, nice. So when you completely disappear, we know that they screwed up, huh?
Well, yeah, and he's right. He agrees with me that the lines from the pole to the house are extremely low, and the problem is the trees that it goes through needs to be trimmed back, and he can't get into where that is. He's going up to the pole itself to see if there's an issue there, see what he can do. But he's putting in for tree crew to come out and trim back the trees so he can actually get to the at the same time.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know how it is in Jersey, but around here, if a power line goes through a tree, well then it's the power company's responsibility to trim it.
So yeah, well, hopefully we'll find out here shortly. Hopefully it's good.
I think I want to go. Yeah. I doubt that sagging power lines are the reason why your air conditioning isn't working efficiently, but
Well,
it
if
would be
it's
really
an
nice if it
issue,
was.
yeah. Well, if it's an issue, if I'm not getting full power to my house, so if there is a line that's broke that's coming to my house, that's going to cause an issue because
Okay.
when we had that storm, I lost a leg to my house.
Right.
So the ACs didn't work at that point because we didn't have enough amps coming into the house for them to kick on properly.
Oh, you lost an entire leg.
Yeah. And they had supposedly fixed it, but like I said, ever since then, like the lights still dim every time the AC
that
kicks
does not
on.
mean that Nate
So.
lost a leg. For those that just tuned in right at that moment, we're talking about electricity. Just figured I'd clarify. But
So now you're going to work on redesigning your knife?
A ground issue. It could be a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to do this Deba, but traditionally now I'm gonna go a little bit. I think I'm gonna go a little longer.
Okay.
Traditionally, for home use, they're about 5.5 inches long. This is about 6.25, and I think I just want that extra 3.25 inch out of it. But if you look at it, I mean, this is an 1/8 of an inch thick, and they're actually supposed to be. They can be anywhere from like a 1/4 inch all the way up to 9 millimeters, which is just under 3/8.
Now you're going to change. You want to make it thicker and longer, but what about
I'm going to
wider?
keep with the flat side on this, and no, the width I think is just about right, and I haven't measured the width yet. So that's at 2 inches. I mean, I could go 2.25 on it, but I don't want so much mass that it's going to be fatiguing to use. But and essentially last week during one of the live streams, one of our watchers, viewers from Denmark, Rico, he was talking about wah handles, and it just got me thinking. I haven't done. This is a WA style handle right here, and I haven't really done one in a while, and I'm not great at them. So I just kind of want to do something this week that challenges me, but also gives me a knife that I want. So I'm going to sketch this out just to give myself an idea as far as what the blade goes or is. I'm just going to sketch it out. Okay, and I'm sketching it out at 2 1/4 inches. There's not much of a rocker on this knife, so that's good. It's basically a sheep's foot design. And I'm going to make this, if I do the WA style handle, I still want to, I think the 2 1/4 inches is probably a good thing, because I kind of want to, normally with the WA style handle, if you see how that is here, especially along the spine of that, it steps up to the handle, and I know that's very traditional, but I'm not a huge fan of it. So I want to kind of put a little bit of a Western flair on it. So if I can get, I have to watch based on what the how much wall I'm giving on that WA handle. But I think if I just did a 1/4 inch drop down, depending on the wood that I use, which I've got some ideas for that. I wish I had some more of that stabilized cork. But yeah, this is going to come into a nice hidden tang handle. I think and the width on that is almost 3/4 of an inch, so I'm going to bring that down just a hair. I also don't want quite as long. I might even want to go a little smaller than that. The fun of just sitting around and sketching while you wait on epoxy to cure or set up. It's definitely more of a drop than, say, like a Warncliffe. And also like a Sentuku. But still, it's getting that look just about right. But used correctly, this knife, it's used for filleting, not necessarily cutting sashimi and stuff like that, but filleting larger pieces of fish, and also as sort of like a cleaver. It's also single beveled. So I'm just trying to figure out where I want that bevel to start. Again, this is just sort of a blueprint. It's not anything really written in stone. But I think the higher up I can get it to start, the better. But yet I don't want to go too close to the spine. There's a nice happy compromise there. I mean, now granted, if I finish this knife this week, that means I should probably go fishing. I've not really been fishing at all this year, especially not putting my heart into it. Just haven't had the time, really. Or I guess I've had the time, I just haven't had the drive. Now Asher's using my truck, so I can't take the kayak out with me. Well, I hope these are the same color reds. They don't look it, but that could just be how they were sitting. There we go. Just trim them up on the scroll saw. Got to be careful there. I don't want to alter the shape of that. So is Nikki glad to be home? Or is he sick of you already? Maybe we don't have a Nate right now. I can hear stuff, I just can't hear him. Might be out talking to the electricians. This is the problem when we don't have video going back and forth. Of course, Nate fried his video capture device, so I'm not saying it was his fault. I'm just saying that his video capture device was fried, so no Nate in the video. Not today. Some other time in the future. Some of you guys have been students of mine, and gals. Uh, you might pick up on something that I do yell at students for, and that's wanting to put pins too close. But this is stabilized wood, and it acts a little bit more. It acts a little bit more like well, it's a resin. It's like G10. It's not gonna. The whole reason why I'm using this is because this is a kitchen knife, and it's going to be around moisture and everything else. So I don't have to worry about the expansion of this material over time. Whereas if you're using a non-stabilized wood, I would definitely watch your pin placement from the edges of said wood. Especially Bill Jacobson, if he catches this later on, or even tunes in. Because I think we had a very extensive conversation about that 2 weeks ago when he was here in class. I hope this turns out the same way I planned it to turn out. Switching sides on that wood. Switching sides on that wood gives me a slightly. That wasn't the grain pattern that I was going for, but I mean it's a stacked block for those slabs, so it shouldn't change it too much. But I picked the side that I did because I thought it was going to look the prettiest. It's all sanded down. I think that's close enough for government work. we go. Now we're starting to get a handle on things. So I'm just going back to what I want to do for a handle. I have this idea. I want to do a wah handle as far as the traditional tang placement goes. It's essentially that stick tang or rat tail tang. However, I kind of most of the time you see those, they're overall they're rectangular in shape, but they're the cross section is what is that, hexagonal, sometimes octagonal, or yeah, I guess they're octagonal, not hexagonal. Whatever. This is not a geometry class, but I kind of want to go a little bit more like modern chef's knife kind of look. And these are, sometimes it's just really good to give yourself some time to sketch. I do this a lot in our classes here, where essentially I make students take a little bit of an art class to begin with, or not really an art class, more like free time art. Like, but it's good to just sometimes get an idea for different, for different things that you want to do to challenge yourself. Um, there are so many times, like with this knife here, I had this French pattern in my head. Length. I had a width. Oh, there we go. That's that. I think I fixed it, but I had that idea as far as what I wanted to go with, but I didn't sketch anything out. I didn't plan anything out. I didn't make a template or anything like that. This is a blade that I haven't done in a very long time. So it's not something that's fresh in my mind. I just kind of want to have some sort of rules to follow, and so if I set these rules, then we'll be good. Unfortunately, even sketching out a handle, it doesn't tell you much about how that handle is going to feel. And I'm not great at the whole sketching thing, but I can hack through. Thank God I never have any customers that say, "Hey, can you sketch up your idea first and then send it to me?" My drawing sucks. I'm a sculptor, not a drawer. Lure. This handle that I'm designing for the Deba is not going to be traditional at all. It's going to require some fancy joining work with wood. I want to use, I think, 3 different types of wood in this. So now the other nice thing is I can take this then and make my handle pattern for the actual wood out of this paper. This is going to involve some cutouts and some real my absolute favorite where I cut wood on a curve and then try to match the curve on another piece of wood and then seamlessly glue them together. So I get like a light wood next to a dark wood. I've done it a lot over the past for certain knives, but they always come out looking great, but I curse myself every time I do it, so I don't know why I'm actually thinking about doing that with this one. So why would you consider putting yourself through hell? I don't know, we just do. Yeah, I don't know if you can see this or not. Looks like the Nikon froze again. I actually heard the shutter that time. See, on my Mac, when I'm using it as a webcam, I hear the shutter go, but it resets itself right away, and you get just a momentary stutter that no one even notices. The resolution on the Mac is a lot better too. Windows cuts down the accepted resolution from this camera unless I'm using it as an HDMI source, which I may go back to because it is higher def and a little bit more clarity. Really wish I could show off that pattern a little bit while it's just sitting here. It's so hard with, like, hey, it's all glued up. If I put it on a slight angle there. I don't know. You can kind of see it. Definitely. I just have to get close to it. Boy, Mondays are a slow day here, aren't they? Normally we've got 5 or 6 guys jumping in, talking. Now, granted, 2 of them are probably Nate and Tim, so I don't know if they really count. I wonder if I should just go a little bit. It still looks really, really cleaverish, and I know that a Deba is, Deba Bocho is essentially it's a cleaver fillet knife. Uh, that's how it's used. I just kind of wonder if I should slope this top down a little bit. These are hey, I'm waiting on epoxy to set up, so I've got some time on my hands, and instead of breaking out a ruler, and I'm not talking about like a lot of slope. But maybe if it tapered as it got out towards here, towards the tip, just slightly in width. Um, Give it a look that's not quite. I don't want to go into Santoku range with it. I want it to be distinctly a Bocho or a Deba. Um, but at the same time, hey, it's my knife. Um, I'm not a Japanese knife maker, so I'm doing a knife inspired by Japanese knives, but it's still my own design. Um, and you can feel free to take those kind of liberties with things. There's even throughout cultures, uh, you know, you're looking at my French chef's knife, and I mean it is a generally accepted thing that they do have a totally different look than German chef's knives. Um, but I guarantee if you go online and do a search for French chef's knife, you're going to come up with a bunch of different takes on it, but you'll see that familial resemblance. You can tell where they come from. However, I do want to stay away from the Santoku, only because it seems like I just remember a time when every celebrity chef on TV was using one. Thank you, Rachel Ray. And then all of a sudden there were countless infomercials about, Japanese cooking knives and yada yada yada. Uh, Man, it was just, you were getting inundated by that stuff. So all right. Well, while I'm still waiting on that epoxy to cure, I'm going to look around here and I'm gonna use a little bit of. I'm trying to debate, or I'm debating with myself as to what steel I'm going to use for this. Um, you know, I I'm gonna forge a billet. And I still think I want to stick with 1095 on it. I just think I want to go a little thicker than what I normally do for my billets. I mean, I could just stack it more layers too, and that would make sense. It would cut down on the forging operations. Let me look and see what I have. I mean, I have a ton of 1095 up here, and I know what I have for 15 and 20. Got sheets of that. But if I start this out at 16 layers, then I can go ahead and do fewer folds. But I want to make sure that I get down to close to my 2¼ inches. So I've got to widen this steel by an inch. Sometimes the more stacking operations, the better, because it's going to, your steel's going to expand when you do that. Looks like my epoxy is almost set up. I'm going to give that just another 2 minutes. I want to be safe on it. When I'm doing this for a customer, when it's not a personal knife, I'll generally go 24 hours. My handle idea here. When I'm sketching up, I realize you can't see that at all. I'm gonna challenge my own woodworking skills. I'll bring it over here to the camera. But I'm gonna challenge my own woodworking skills for that handle. So that's just a rough out to give me an idea as to how I want to lay out the wood. And I think I'm going to use 3 different types of wood in this. And then the tricky part is that I'm actually going to drill a large hole into the handle after I do all the work of matching and joining and getting it all lined up. So if I screw up the hole, then I have to throw out the whole handle. you know, it's just trash. There's probably no recovering it. So I got to make sure that I drill the hole exactly where it needs to go. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a challenge. And I want to have a lot of contours in this. I wish I could draw it better. You know, that's my one downfall. I wish I was a better drawer. Like, I know how I want it in my mind. I just can't draw shadow, curves, and, you know, contours. I see them when I look at other people's drawings. I just don't necessarily know how to make them on my own. And I don't know that's really important. And I look at my own drawings and I'm like, okay, well, at least I know where I want that. I know the idea that I'm going for. Again, you don't have to be good at drawing, I guess, to do this stuff. As far as get your ideas, if you can make it happen, you know, in another way, that's all that matters. This is, like I said, it's more akin to sculpting than it is to drawing. So, but first, at least getting an idea as far as how long that handle is going to be, you know, how much material I need. I don't want to be wasteful. I'm going to look around. I hope I have a piece of this stabilized cork. I forget the actual name of it, but it's a natural cork that's been stabilized, and I really, really want that with another wood that's kind of a bane of my existence. I'd really like to do some ebony. I'm gonna do a Patreon video for supporters there, kind of a behind the scenes thing about, you know, why I pick different woods and what woods are for what, and you know, I think that'll be a nice video. So I'm not going to go into it here. Um, that's kind of the goal. Is eventually I'd really like to start building up our Patreon library. You know, don't get me wrong. I really enjoy this live streaming, and I probably go off on a whole bunch of different tangents and kind of explain things here and there. But, you know, to do some much more in-depth and very focused videos on my thought processes and methods, I think that's something better reserved for, you know, the Patreon side of things. Just get my pinholes. That drill's a little loaded up, but I don't have to worry about the wood splitting, A, because it's stabilized, and B, because I was an idiot who essentially cut his handle out wrong, so the liner was on the wrong side. So I guess there's a W in there somewhere, boys. I'm just gonna. I know you can't see me. I'm off here by the grinders. I'm just scoring my brass. Definitely going to need to pick up more brass this week. Hey, Bill, I was just talking about you. It was all good. It was about 20 minutes ago or so, I think. I was talking about my pin placement for this particular handle. And how I always tell students not to place pins like that, and yet I'm doing it. But I'm also using a stabilized wood, so there's different techniques involved here that certain things I can get away with. That's also why I'm using some CA glue here on these pins. Because this wood is not going to have the same sort of activity as as our live virgin woods. You missed the big screw up right off the bat. I prep my handles with liners and cut the knife out on the wrong, or cut the handle out on the wrong side. Spent all night. I came down here yesterday, prepped these things. Was down here at like 10 o'clock at night, just making sure everything was all ready to go today. Then in the first 15 minutes, I screwed it up. Now, Bill, this is what we call stabilized wood. So, I I actually stabilized this piece because we have a vacuum chamber here at the shop. So it's been cured with a resin, and it's basically like a 30-hour process for us to do. But what it does is it takes lighter, more porous woods, and really hardens them up by impregnating everything with essentially like it's like a fiberglass resin, but it's not. Like it's totally not fiberglass resin, but I guess the easiest way to describe it. So yeah, now the wood won't expand or contract. But I'm using this in the kitchen, so it's kind of, and it's, it's a handle that essentially is meant to last a lifetime. Now I have wood handles for other kitchen knives that are definitely not stabilized at all. It just means that you have to go through an extra step of maintenance with it. But so I'm just going to let that CA glue set up just a little bit. But it looks like I got my alignments right. Man, and then I have to sand this whole entire, like, you can see over here in the top left. See, I glued the liner on the wrong side. Actually, I didn't glue the liner on the wrong side. I glued it all on the same side, and then I cut that particular scale out wrong. So I had to go ahead and do another piece of liner. Thank God I still had some more red left. I'm out of red, so if somebody requests something, don't ask for red liner right now. But essentially, Nate was here. He might still be here. I don't know. He's got the power company out at his house right now, tightening up some lines since the hurricane came through. So you might hear some disembodied voice of God like booming through at some point. Yeah, I really like. Let's see if you can see if I can get the pattern to show up nice on there. Pattern came out really nice. The blade itself is nice and thin. For a 10-inch knife, I think it's gonna perform really well. I can't wait to get it into the kitchen. I'm gonna have to. I was planning one thing for dinner tonight, but I think I'm gonna have to change that around. Jurgen. Yeah, so give that CA glue just a minute or two to set up, and then it's going to be time to change the camera around, and I'll go over to the grinder, start shaping this thing up. Which means I need to find my safety glasses. So give me a minute or so while I do that. Lord knows I sat them down in someplace very obvious. It's just not obvious to me right now. And I can grab one of the cheap pairs. Oh, there they are. Sitting right on top of the speaker. Yeah, Bill, let me move that once. I'm gonna just take a look at that in the camera. I mean, it's gonna look a lot better when I post it on Instagram. And I did post a pre-sanding etch. Like I only had it roughed out. And I just wanted to see what I was dealing with as far as pattern goes. So I posted that on Instagram. That was only done at 80 grit, and now we're much higher than that. All right, so let's move some things around here. Oh, look at that. There's a belt on the ground, of course. Get that out of the way. All right. Well, I guess it's time to do some sanding here. Normally, this portion only takes me about 5 minutes to do, just to get it roughed out before I go to hand sanding. But since I had a happy little accident, it might take me a little longer today. But you can see, boy, that just sounds lovely in the microphone. There we go. Almost done. All right. Yeah, so that's how that liner material is coming down. I don't know if that's going to focus or not in the camera. Quite frankly, I'm not hitting it with these dusty hands, so. Ah, look at that. I got the epoxy warm enough, and it just peeled right off. Perfect. So now we're back on track. Just want to get my side smooth. And I mean, you know, consistency, uniformity, that's the name of the game here. So I'm doing a lot of looking and deciding before I commit to actually taking it to the belt. Okay, so I definitely want to go over this. I'm actually going to I'm going to knock down the high points of this with an 80 grit belt. With the stabilizing resin in that wood, the 36, let me just clean this before I take it off. The 36 grit can really wreak some havoc on it. And I normally wouldn't rough out something with 80 grit. I think it's a waste of a belt, but with this material, it's going to give me a lot nicer of a finish. And even though I'm going back to hand sanding, starting with 80 grit, this is going to help. Yeah, I think the microphone here does a great job and allows me to talk over it, which is nice. Putting a slight contour in the top. I still think this is probably one of my favorite parts of knife making. It can be so relaxing. You know, you just gotta take your time and you know, it's all about the results at this point. As long as you don't rush it. You rush a miracle, man, you get rotten miracles. still needs to come down a little bit more. It's a little thick for my taste. Take these back edges off. I almost thought about doing this handle very diamond shaped or, very faceted, gem-like, real hard edges, but I don't know. Still debating how I'm going to do that. I like that. I just have one side just a hair thicker towards the top. Again, it's about what my hand feels, not about what my eyes see. Take a little thickness off. Oh, it feels great. I just want to even these up. I'm not saying that you can't have a handedness with a handle. There's some Japanese knives out there that definitely have a right-handed handle versus a left-handed handle. Go a little higher there, but that's not the style that I'm going for on this. And before I get too far along, take something off that I don't want to. I'm going to quit. And that means I'm going to put the camera back to here. Now I can take my safety glasses off. Hey Tim, how you doing, brother? Nate was sitting there on the Discord talking to us, but I think he's gone. I haven't looked. So he had electricians out at the house. Let's see. Maybe I shouldn't be resting my hand on here. Shakes the camera around. Oh, absolutely. You know, it's nice and cool out though. I guess I could have taped up the blade before I did all this sanding on it. I know a lot of guys are really big into that. Well, it's not raining here yet, Bill. But I'm sure you guys will send it our way. Try not to shake that one camera around. But you can really start seeing. Let's see if I can. I don't know if you can see some of the details in that wood. That stabilized wood is just gorgeous. It's gonna look great once it's all sanded down and it's oiled up. Oh, good. It looks like I am using the same color liner on both halves as well, so that's gonna look a lot better in photographs. With this 80 grit, you know, this is the time to smooth all that stuff out and just to get those contours going the way you want it. Smooth out any hard part of that knife. Yes, you totally missed the part where the glue was drying, but only part of that. Nate was here, so we were talking, Jeremy. So that was very entertaining. I still have no idea where Nate is.
I'm
I was
right here.
explaining that you might get his disembodied voice floating through here. Oh,
What?
well, we were talking about you, and you didn't say anything, so.
Well, it's because I just popped back on. Because, power out, power comes back on. One of those things.
No, I just. Oh, okay. Oh, they actually disconnected it and.
Well, yeah, they
tightened up the lines
disconnected
for
it to. I had them check the actual power coming to the house to make sure that the voltage and everything was correct. So they had to actually disconnect the power at the house and put their giant gauge on it to test the two legs coming into the house and put
Okay.
loads on both sides to make sure everything was right. It's
Right.
incredible, and it's fun wizardry, Jeremy.
Ah, I see. What wizard? Jeremy, you could be doing this. Yes. You could be popping on here too if you wanted to.
As
There you
could
go. Pushing that
Tim.
wire again. And,
I
and
get
once
that
Nate
quite a
has
lot.
camera
Thanks,
going
Jeremy.
again, we'll put his disembodied head floating in here somewhere
Oh
while
God.
he's doing
yeah.
leather work, and I'm. I don't know. Nate's voice is sexier over the line. That's because I have, scratchy voice. Nate's got smooth voice.
Why would you go and build routers? That doesn't sound fun at all.
Well, I don't know. What kind of routers are they? Are they metal routers, wood routers, or are you talking about nerd routers? Trying to adjust my focus here. Oh, there we go. As I trip over my own anvil.
Good job, buddy.
IPv4? Why aren't you doing IPv6? Oh, stop shaking the table, Jay. Together it sounds like a podcast about gravel. You mean the Canadian seasickness medication? The lab doesn't support it. Then Tim, get yourself another lab. Sanding this stabilized wood is so nice. But boy, when you get a scratch in this, you notice it. Right now I'm still on 80 grit. So hence the reason why it doesn't look totally sexy and gorgeous yet. You know, Jeremy, if you wanted to pop on with your sexy voice, you know, we could make this a knife making podcast while making knives.
Why would we want to do a thing like that?
That would be crazy. Could you imagine trying to interview guests while hand sanding? Uh-oh. Nate, Jeremy wants you to talk.
Oh,
He must
God.
be on his phone because he's typing slow.
Bill wants to talk.
You want to talk? I know.
The wild Stegovitz, in its native habitat, ruts against the exotic fauna.
Feasting upon the dead corpses of the Eichelbergers? I knew you'd like that, Jeremy. I think we're almost good. Let's find the next grit. You know, I don't know that it's that I've lost sandpaper as much as it's fallen behind here. So I do not want 2000 grit yet. There we go. So, Jeremy, are you in Gettysburg right now, working hard, or are you in that other place? So this was actually my big social experiment, was to see how many people I could get to watch a live stream of hand sanding knife handles.
Hi, my name is Tony.
What was that? Nate, was you talking or some noise in the background?
I don't know. I was muted, so I don't know if it came through or not. It might have been this.
And hi, my name is Tony.
Something came through really muffled.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, what was that? What does that tell me about you? Bill? I just think that consumers will buy anything, including hand sanding on YouTube. But this is free, so you didn't buy it, so that's good.
No, Jeremy, your name is not Danny.
I'll watch anything if it's free. We can start calling you Danny. So wait, Jeremy, you're watching YouTube while driving in the car? That's
Sounds a little risky, my friend.
that's a little dangerous. No, Tim, hand sanitizing is not. Yes. Hey, Rico, how's Denmark?
Wow, we're up to 7 people watching. You sit there and sand wood.
Wow. I know. It's like I do the entertaining stuff, like, oh, I don't know, forging knives and making Damascus, um, and Tim or Nate, that's just on YouTube. You're I don't know what the Twitch stream's up to,
Give me a second, I can find out.
and I think that's only people signed in.
Well, nope. Apparently, it's just me on Twitch.
Just you on Twitch?
Yeah.
It's not true. I have a browser open,
Well, it just shows that there's one person watching. So,
but like I said, I think it's people signed in, not people not signed in.
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. So that's starting to look pretty good. Give my hands a little bit of a break. Well, Rico, I'm just working on the. If you look in the top left corner there, you can see the wood handle coming together. That's got a nice red liner going down there. Yeah, I guess I should clean the dust off before I put it in front of a camera. But it's really got a nice feel to the hand. I just have a couple of scratches I want to get out. Cheers, Jeremy.
See you, buddy.
It's always right up there at that transition between the blade and the handle. So I sand it the opposite way to take those down. I don't remember. It's a burl, but it was a really soft burl that I ended up stabilizing. Yeah, Nate and the other guys here at the shop, we did a lot of stabilizing back in December for some woods, a whole bunch of different blocks, and this was one that I know I got some yellow into it, but I thought I had tried to throw some other colors in there. It just didn't come out. So the grain might have been a little too tight, but I can definitely tell the resin has permeated all the way through. Oh, that's looking pretty good. So that's 120. I think it's time to step it up a little bit. But before I do that, I want to hit the spine here with a little bit of a 3M abrasive. I just want to take some of these scratches out. Let's see. There they are. I think medium should do it. When I say a 3M abrasive, Scotch-Brite belts is what I'm talking about. I'm not going to bother turning the camera because this is going to take me literally 30 seconds or so. You can see I'm just shining up the tang that's exposed here on the spine. Just trying to get any of those deep scratches out and polish it. That'll make it a lot easier. The only problem with the 3M stuff is that it can kind of burnish the wood a little bit since it's moving at such a speed. So, but I do know of woodworkers that actually use this stuff quite successfully. So let's see. I'll put it in front of this camera. You can see how before it just had a bunch of 80 grit scratches in there. So I just wanted to take those out. And now some of the dust is off of there. Like I said, you'll see a better picture of it on Instagram, but for now, the nice thing is we're almost done. Since this wood's stabilized, I may actually try to go ahead and etch the spine of the handle. Mainly because the acid won't soak into it. And you can still see that wood is just coming off there, creating a lot of dust. Just had a piece of tack cloth around here. I wish I knew where I set it down. I think it's in the toolbox, which has a computer monitor and keyboard on it. Yeah, technically I could dip this handle if I wanted to, but probably just use a Q-tip. So we're at 320 now. That looks really, really nice. So I'll take my paper, fold it in half, this front edge here. I mean, there's one little tiny spot where I nicked the blade. Sandpaper. So I'm gonna end up just re-etching. I mean, it's not even the thickness of my fingernail, but I'll end up re-etching there. So I'll have it out. I might as well just try the spine at the same time. Yeah, as we get finer in our grit here, the technically the less sanding I have to do. I'm just kind of buffing and buffing and buffing. It's not like we're taking a lot of material away now that we're up to 400 grit. But what you're really starting to see when I oil this, I mean, this is just I can't wait to post a picture on Instagram. There's some awesome activity in this brill. I have basically the same 3M, except it's I'm just using it by hand. Just taking it off to make sure there's no burrs or anything here. And it also, the nice thing is just the nature of that scrubby, you know, it kind of takes some of the dirt out of the pores before I move up. Or out of the fibers of the wood, I guess. I don't know what it does on a technical side, but it does some nice stuff. Let's see. That's really coming out. One little spot bothering me though. Had a little bit of gray discoloration to it. So I just wanted to deal with that now. It's the problem when you step up to these like super fine grits. If you don't have it pretty well taken care of, that the fine abrasive that's on them is gonna, you know, it's gonna basically come off and it's gonna stick in the fibers of the wood there. Now's when I need that tack cloth. Yeah, Bill, you're absolutely right. That's what's awesome about wood. You just never really know what's hiding inside, do you? Ah, there's tack cloth. Remove any dirt from that. I mean, this handle almost looks as though it was oiled already, and it hasn't been. And it's just, I mean, absolutely, this is as smooth as a countertop. So let's get prepped. I'm just gonna, before I get any oils all over this, we're gonna grab a little bit of ferric chloride. I don't have any Q-tips down here, or if I do, I just don't know where they are. And I'm gonna try it on the side.
One of the top cubbies in the thing on the table should be where the Q-tips are.
Yeah, I know it's probably there, Nate, but that's all right. This is actually working really well. I just wanted to, like, I didn't want to take it black, but that's just enough, just to dull down that silver color a little bit. That looks great. Let's see how she looks with a little bit of tongue oil on her. Yes, Jeremy, if you were still here, I know you'd say, I bet you say that to all the girls. And this is why our channel is 18 plus. Man, I love that wood. don't know how close I can get to this camera. Does that show up there? I realize I have to go reset the other camera. Just hit it with another coat of tung oil. Oh, I love these. I don't want to answer because I know who it is. I love the phone calls that you get, telling me that the extended warranty of my car is up. I'm like, I don't have an extended warranty on my car. I guess everybody gets those, don't they? Well, at least in this country. That one stupid little nick. There we go. That's a lot better. Then off the blade. Up this handle out a little bit. Let her sit for just a couple of minutes. Just want that tung oil to set up a little. Yeah, I mean, that's not a high-res photo, but, you're really starting to get some ideas as to how that blade looks.
It's pretty. But where's the bottle bottle opener?
Yeah,
on the
like, it's really gonna look good on Instagram.
Yeah.
Where's the bottle opener? Nate, there's not going to be any opening bottles with this knife.
Oh, sheesh.
But now I guess I need to sharpen it, don't I?
But that would help, because if it's not
I
sharp,
guess that means
it's
I need
not
to
a
move
knife.
the camera. Yeah, that would help. What do you mean if it's not sharp, it's not a knife? It's a knife-shaped object right now, right?
Exactly. I mean, until it cuts, it's It's a wall decoration.
I hear you, disembodied voice in my head.
Show the pattern of the knife.
You see the steel pattern. A little better.
No, you're in the way. You're causing a shadow on it.
It's so hard. I'm in the way?
Yeah, you're causing a shadow across the blade.
Okay. This is not the. This is definitely not the camera to be taking photos with, though.
Yeah. And it's the cord Damascus,
So
right?
I'm just gonna. I mean, my edge is almost there, but just to say I did. Yes. Yeah, it's basically 70. What is it? 72 layers, and then 73 with a core of 1095 running down the middle.
Okay.
Next grit.
All right. I got to
Nice,
bounce.
consistent. See you, Nate.
Have fun. Don't mess it up.
Thanks for keeping me company. Will do. Just one little spot, right in here on the blade that I want to address. Just slightly biased to one side. I'm going to drop my angles. Yeah, sharpening on a 2x72 requires a little bit of patience. Notice I'm also not getting the blade very warm, otherwise I wouldn't be able to touch it. Let's turn the camera again. Now, before I grab onto this too tightly, I'm going to clean my hands really quick. I know I have a lot of dirt on them. Oh, end of that roll of paper towels. Means I have to use my jeans. Really, I'm just using this to kind of hone it down a little bit. The hell? Oh. Stuff that can wait. Yes, I'm stropping this knife on my blue jeans. Just a little bit. I mean, obviously, I could probably sit here for hours and do this. I used to have a cool little sanding machine that had jigs, and one of my students broke it a couple of months ago. I don't know, horrible test, but see where it needs addressed. Right there. Seems like right up here. There we go. What I'm looking for is, I'm not trying to like shave the paper. I'm feeling how it's actually cutting and where it might be dragging, because that would be an area that needs to be addressed. Now, the problem with a blade this long is cutting along the length of that. There we go. Yeah. There we go. Just trying to, now I'm kind of grabbing it up with fire because I want to test this front edge. There's just one spot that's kind of bothering me a little. And right there. The reason why paper is such a horrible test for this is, well, at least the paper here in the shop, is because the humidity is so high. But again, I'm not looking to like. I know you watch those guys like slicing newspaper and stuff. What I'm actually doing is I'm feeling the cut. I'm trying not to put any pressure in there, and I'm feeling for areas where it catches and tears. Now, I mean, I'm happy with that for the initial edge. That's good enough for me right now. Now I can take it to my stones up at the house, pop something on Netflix, and just spend an hour at it. So, before I take some pictures, let's just put a little bit more tung oil in there. Yeah, I'm actually hitting the blade with a little bit of tung oil as well. It's not going to hurt anything. Before I go to actually use it on food, though, just because it's not that tung oil is poisonous or anything, I just I'll wash it off with some hot water. And then hit it with mineral oil, because mineral oil is what I use on all the knives in my roll. But seems like the tung oil stands up a little bit better to some of the acids in your fingers and all. Well, the table's looking like quite the mess, isn't it? I'll flip it over to show the other side. Now I'm gonna. How do I want to take a picture of this? See, this is where I wanted those little plastic tabs I was looking for earlier today. And I know where a whole bunch of them are because it's in all of the stuff that we use for knife shows. So let's get some of the rust off of there. Because rust never looks good in photographs. I guess a little bit does, but I mean, it really depends on what you're going for. But this is why you don't lay your blade on there after you etch for the first time. So let's see what kind of photographs I can get here with my iPhone. Remember to turn it sideways. And clean off the lens. Let's get some. Trying to get my shadows out of there. Always fun taking pictures. More from this angle. See, I'm casting a lot of shadows on there. See if I can find a spot where I can. Let's see. Minimize the shadow there. Well, there we go. A little bit more sharpening up of the house, and that blade is good. So thanks guys for tuning in today. Looks like boy, almost 3 hours to finish up, get the handle glued on, finished. Obviously we weren't rushing around. I should probably raise this camera up. There we go. But I appreciate every single one of you tuning in and talking. Those of you that did, raising your support. Later this week, the plan is I'm going to be doing a Deba or Deba Bocho, which is a knife along that style right there. But my issue with this one is it's only 1/8 of an inch thick. I just kind of made this really fast on the fly to like see how I like the style of knife, but it really needs to be thicker. It needs to be about 9 millimeters thick, so almost 3/8 of an inch at the spine, and then tapers down to a chisel grind. It's only beveled on the one side. So and more importantly, Rico, you actually inspired this, brother. I'm going to try my hand at doing another wah handle. As you can see, my wah handle work really is not great. But this was just basic, and hey, I mean this knife works great. I've actually butchered a lot of pheasants and goose with it, so it has worked great. But now I want to use it for what it's actually meant for. A Deba is actually meant to basically cut the heads off of fish and do your initial filleting to piece it out before you go ahead and use a finer knife for cutting sashimi, for sushi or whatever you're using it for. So that being said, that is my goal. I may be back later tonight. I'm not sure, but I need to start making the steel, and that's the number one thing. It's already 3:30 here, so I just have to see what else is on the plate, what else I need to take care of. So I could end up coming back tonight and starting that steel out, but we'll definitely be working on it at some point tomorrow. So thanks again, guys, for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Feel like it, check us out on Patreon. Show your support, and otherwise we'll keep on streaming, and we'll see you tomorrow and later on this week here at the Forge. So take care. Oh, and before I go, make sure you follow us on Instagram. This is where you can actually see pictures of this knife. If you want to see the good pictures of it, I'll be posting them up there in just a few minutes. Again, later.
Just be through down my enemy. What about video?
have not. They're dead.
What about me?
You do not find good men right. Great watchtower. Have not. They're dead.
Just
Time. And a minute. You do not find.
you do not know. What about
And a minute. Have.
what about things are in mush?
We do not.
You do not know. You do not know.
I'm gonna.
First edges.
As time. And a minute. You do not find.
Just he threw down my enemy.
Have.
What about things are in mush?
We do not.
You do not know. You do not know.
I'm gonna.
Just
Time. And a minute.